Yes, indeed, we are back and we are joined by a massive guest all the way from America. We are joined by Breana Marin. Hey. Breana, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak to us today. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing really well and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for making time for me in your schedule.
Oh, what time is it there right now? Because we're recording this one about 8 o'clock in the evening. So is it like breakfast time for you?
It's definitely giving 12:19. I was able to have like breakfast and do like my whole morning routine. And
What
then,
is what is a morning routine for you?
Okay, so it's very specific. You must wake up, obviously.
Okay, first, wake up. Wake up. Right.
Yeah.
At least I did that. At least I did that. At least I did that.
That's gonna be step one. So
Okay.
first we open our eyes, we wake up. Then I check my emails. It's a horrible thing. I check my emails for like 5 minutes just to make sure there's like no emergencies. Then I immediately wash my face. I immediately make breakfast because I'm like starving in the morning, and I make a feast. Like it's not like a piece of bread, it's like a feast. I practice gratitude. I do like 5 minutes of meditation because anything more, I start like wanting to go back to sleep or like I do.
Yeah, I find that. I'm just there like dribbling. I'm like, are you actually meant to dribble while you are meditating?
Yeah, then it's like you're not meditating, you're sleeping. So we tap out at about 5 minutes. After that, then I walk my dog, and then if Love Island or Bachelor in Paradise is available, then an episode of that must happen. And then after that, I get to work.
Then you get to work. So is this like work, or have we interrupted the routine?
Well, yeah, technically I should be like recording or writing something right now, but this is better. This is better.
Hey, that's what I like to hear. I mean, it's a much more creative and productive morning routine than I have, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I mean, like, especially like working from home, I wake up 5 minutes before I start, like on it straight away. But Breana, you actually are a very talented individual. You have a lot of different traits.
It's the reason why she's here, man.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I thought she just had like a chit chat.
Oh, right. Okay. First.
Do people not come here to just talk to us?
No.
No, but I wanted to ask you just a brief question about your other talents, because you are involved with film and TV, and you actually are a founder of an organization as well, aren't you? Can we hear a little bit about that before we get into the music?
Yeah, of course. Well, so I am the founder of Love Pulse Music. It's a collective of songwriters and producers. I created it because how do I explain? I've gotten into a lot of opportunities where I've come across different songwriters and producers in the industry from this platform called BeatStars. So I license hooks and stuff like that. And it's just exposed me to a lot of different people and a lot of artists in different scenarios, like indie artists, major artists, like all of the things. And I noticed a lot of people don't know all of the different ways you can make money in music. So I wanted to start something that I share the opportunities that come my way that some people probably wouldn't have, either they didn't know how to get there or they wouldn't have even known it existed. So that's kind of like where Love Pulse came from. And now we've kind of evolved into just like a TV sync curation and creation kind of company. So we work a lot on like background music for different TV shows, or sometimes we write for characters that sing on shows. So yeah, that's Love Pulse in a nutshell.
Did it start off just mainly just being within your city or like the state that you're in, and then it just started to manifest and grow? Like, were you expecting the results that you're having now? Is it like kind of beating your wildest dreams? Like, if that makes sense.
I think I'm naturally like a collaborative kind of person. So I was always kind of already working this way where like if something was happening, then it's like, okay, I'm going to ask so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so to come in on this with me. So then we can be like a superhuman team and you know what I mean? And like go above and beyond and do all of these different things. So that's kind of like where the energy started. But when I started like writing hooks on BeatStars, that's when it became like, okay, wait, I can actually really help people make a substantial amount of money. And it mostly was focused on BeatStars at the time. There wasn't a lot of songwriters on that platform. And then I think we did like a contest and I started meeting just really talented people that they haven't done as much as they could or should be doing. So yeah, that's kind of like how it blended in. I'm not sure if that answered the question. I might have just wandered off into a whole different realm.
You like wondered exactly to what I wanted to hear.
Exactly what
So well done.
I talk in circles, and then sometimes I make it back, and sometimes the circle never closes.
And that circles always come back round. So that's fine.
Me and Daboothe, honestly, we talk. It starts off as a circle and it turns. It just
Rhombus.
it goes
yeah.
off the page.
Yeah.
We invent new shapes.
Yeah.
But Breana, you mentioned about collaboration there, and obviously I know with Love
Yeah.
Pulse that is a very big part of it. But you yourself as a musician, you've collaborated with hundreds of artists like Flawless Real Talk, Damien Spider, for example. Is like Love Pulse directly involved with that, or is that something you were always doing before you started Love Pulse?
Yeah. I mean, I would always say Love Pulse was me in the beginning. You know what I mean? It was just me operating on my own. And then, yes, it kind of just like, it poofed out into like a spider web of different people, different things that we do. Because sometimes when I would explain it to people, like, I don't know if you guys have elevator pitches. Have you heard of that before? An elevator pitch?
Elevator pitches.
So, like one time I was like, what's my elevator pitch? And so like I tried to like be like, Love Pulse, it's a company that does hooks, sound kits, TV film. Okay, we collaborate with people, we mix things. Like, you know what I mean? It's like all horrible elevator pitch. It goes down like a whole thing. So yeah, it's like everything that embodies me, I guess, is Love Pulse. But that's definitely how it started. In addition to BeatStars, so I'm kind of like an online connoisseur. Like all of the platforms online, I've probably worked on them or like done something in them. So there's another one called Sound Better, and that's how I connected with Damien Spider. He requested to work with me on Sound Better and wrote a song, and then ended up doing really, really well streaming wise. And I think even, I don't know if he did a music video or something like that for it, but
over 1 million on Spotify, which is incredible.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's just he found me on Sound Better, and then I wrote a song in my bedroom, and then that was that song. So
is that how many of your collaborations have come about, or there are some of them that are like more, oh, I know this person, we're going to connect, go to the studio?
I would say like my traditional song placements, like I've worked with Fifth Harmony. I did some songs for Star and Empire, so then Brandy ended up singing one of them. Ryan Destiny performed one of them. So it's like those were like a little more organic and traditional. But I would say most of like anything that's like underground and like not like a household name, they probably either found me on BeatStars or found me on Sound Better or came directly to my website. Like everything was like, I probably even haven't met half of them.
Wow. So like if Love Pulse wasn't around, do you think you'd be at the same stage where you're at now? Or do you think just through having your website, trying to stay consistent with just putting yourself out on like BeatStars, that you would still be to the same league? Or has like Love Pulse really just elevated you to a whole new level?
I think Love Pulse has illuminated me on other things that I can do and how I can branch out, because working on BeatStars and Sound Better is fun, especially when I was like younger and like super, super hungry. Like I just be like, I'm gonna do all of the songs. Like anybody that asks me, like, yes, I'll do it. But then it's like time progresses and you're like, I don't want to do all of the songs. And so Love Pulse is kind of just like that next transition for me to where I can empower other people that are in that state of mind that like they want to do all of the things that maybe I'm starting to kind of like slow down, you know what I mean, on to kind of be able to pass that torch over to them. I feel like that's like the evolution of Love Pulse for me. But if I didn't have it, I think I would probably have stumbled into something else. You know what I mean? Probably another online thing. Maybe I would be more into TikTok. I don't know, but like something, I think I would have found something.
You've like definitely thought outside the box, because like a lot of artists that we have, which are still on that like phase of grinding, it's kind of like the same story. They like start gigging, they put it on Spotify, but to kind of like sample bits of yourself on like BeatStar, I haven't heard really many people do that. And I think it is a bit more of like a common thing now. But if you were doing it at the phase where people weren't commonly doing it, jackpot, baby.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's actually kind of controversial. Like, I don't know how much you guys know about like BeatStars, but there was like a whole war kind of going on between traditional producers and like online producers, and how one side was like, oh my God, you guys are, ruining music. You guys are making everything low budget and blah, 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 blah. But I don't think that the other side understood like how much money and potential there was to keep licensing the same thing over and over and over again. But yeah, at the time I could count on one hand how many people were selling hooks. I think people probably thought it was weird or dumb even of me to be doing it, but it opened up so many doors for me.
And obviously, you mentioned a bit there about when BeatStars was coming up. Obviously, that whole issue with producers and people being like, "Oh no, to be a producer, you need to be in the studio recording and all that stuff." In terms of obviously, you were a part of that, a part of the evolution of it. Where can you sort of see the music industry in the next 10 years? Can you see it evolving even more, or do you think it's just sort of going to stay where it is, just progress?
I think it's going to evolve. I think it has no choice but to evolve, especially in like our culture today, like, you know, cancel culture and like just people being held more accountable for certain things. I just think labels and publishers and just traditional mediums in the music industry won't be able to do the things that they've done in the past. And they don't even have the control that they have in the past. I feel like they're trying to keep up anyways with how the internet is changing everything. So yeah, I feel like it'll be unrecognizable in a few years. How so? I don't know. Because I feel like there's so many curveballs that happen that yeah, I'm not sure if I can call what it'll be like, but I definitely think stuff like BeatStars will be more normalized as well.
Where would you want it to go?
Whew, that's a good question. You know, I would like to see more protection for songwriters. I think we're kind of treated like, I don't know, we're like the stepchild of songwriting. Like we're the last to get paid, but I think we're crucial, you know what I mean, to the song. So I would love to see something that values not even only just songwriters, but just creatives in general. For what we do, like more rights for us, more protection for us, more regulation in how we get paid. Just because like there's so many companies, I won't say companies, but you know, the streaming companies that make so much money, you know, and then they give us like $1,000 after like 1 billion streams. So I would just love to see that shared and us to have a little more stability in our career to continue to keep making music. So yeah, I would love to see a more, what word am I trying to say? Equal, safe, protected, you know, all of those kind words in the music industry.
Yeah.
A better music industry, yeah.
A better music industry. Yeah, I completely agree. And also yourself as a songwriter, like you said, you sort of know the downsides of the current industry, especially to songwriters. But stepping away from that and focusing on yourself as an artist, you're an extremely talented singer. Tell us a little bit about your process. How exactly did you first get involved with music? What made you want to start releasing stuff out into the World Wide Web?
Ooh, well, I've always loved singing. I'm obsessed with musicals. I love Disney. I'm like very all the musicals, even as like an adult. I'm like High School Musical, love it all. So yeah, ever since life began, I was singing. I'm sure in the womb I was singing. And my family's my family, they're all really into music. My mom like loves making playlists and like the whole thing. But I didn't really know much about it. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, so I kind of was just like in my own little bubble. Moved to LA, rude awakening. Everybody was talented. Thought I was like hot shit. Not compared to like everybody else. So that was interesting experience. But the more I met people, the more I learned. That's how I kind of got into songwriting. I started meeting songwriters. Before I moved to LA, I thought like all artists wrote all their things. Like there was not a person doing things for them. All artists wrote their things. Duh. Why would Beyonce or whoever not write her own things? But yeah, I didn't know there was a whole industry for that. So I ended up linking up with a songwriter who's really successful at the time. He had written Disturbia and like Forever for Chris Brown, and I got to be his assistant. So I would just go to all the sessions with him, and I got to like, you know, learn, listen, and like just see how everything was happening. And then that kind of really solidified like what I wanted to be doing. And I kind of figured out like the steps I needed to take and stuff like that from there. Ended up connecting like with an attorney, and she helped me like get a publishing deal. So from there, that's kind of just, I never looked back with music.
What was the best tip or one sort of piece of advice that you took away from that person that is like a really successful songwriter, that, you know, if there was one thing that you could say to the people now that you learned from him or her, what would that piece of advice be?
I would say nothing that he ever specifically said, but I think it wasn't registering with me when I was like with him in all those scenarios. I think I didn't realize how important contacts were, connections, and like building relationships. Not even only with the people that were already successful, but people that were just in the room that might have been serving like the cheese, who are now like the president of Def Jam. You know what I mean? And so, because I'm also like a shy person. I'm talkative like in intimate like scenarios, but I can be shy when there's like too many people around, or if I'm like intimidated in a scenario. So in those scenarios, I often would be really, really quiet, and like I would kind of just like keep to myself and like just be observing. But I would say my advice to myself, if I went back, would be to be more open, just even with the people that were around in the room, because pretty much I think anyone I came into contact with then now is like doing big things, you know?
Yeah.
So who would have, if they were closer to me, who knows what would have happened?
Your latest release, Backburner, can you give us a little bit about the actual song? What was your sort of creative process in making that?
So I wrote that maybe like a year or so ago, fresh out of a relationship. And the funny thing is, I actually made it with a person that I was with. Like, we were upset at each other. Like, he knew the whole scenario, but it kind of felt therapeutic and like a healthy way to say what I was feeling without being like toxic. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that started at home. I played some chords and then sang like the whole verse, the whole hook, everything on there. Made some horrible stutter edits, but he like specializes in audio engineering and production and all that kind of stuff, so he like took it and made it like 10 times better and corrected my vocal chops. But yeah, so that's pretty much the story of that. I write a lot from like raw emotion and like what's actually happening in my life. So I would say that's like a great time capsule of what was happening in that very moment.
You know what? We understand that you've got the gift of the voice, musically gifted. But how creative are you? How creative are you with drawing? Shall we find out with Let's Get Creative with Daboothe and Max? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. Please do. So basically, we are going to have a little session here now, Breana, which is basically you and Max are going to go head to head with your creative session, okay? And it's going to be based on drawing. So what I'm going to do, very simply, is I'm going to give you about a minute, okay? About a minute of drawing a snake that loves listening to music. That's all it is.
We've already got a minute.
You've only got a minute.
I tell you what, Breana, I like you, but I'm going to put the glasses on for this because...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's competition time.
Yeah. It's really
it got serious.
Really serious. So also as well, there's just one rule is that you can't put any words to it. It has to be expressed. The snake's enjoyment has to be expressed through the creativity of drawing. Simple, right?
It's a snake that enjoys listening to music. Yeah.
Exactly. We need to find a way of showing that it enjoys listening to music.
Yeah. So like, don't write a speech being like, "I love music," okay? Because like, that's
now,
not...
do we get points for how good the drawing is or how creative it is?
TBA.
Oh, okay.
To be announced. Okay. To be announced.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you'll find out at the end, because I haven't made up my mind basically. So just draw and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm just gonna get the annotation thing ready here. All right. Okay, I believe that we're ready on our side. Time? Yeah. It's like a head-to-head battle. Okay, so whenever you guys are ready, 3. Are you ready, Breana?
I'm scared, but yes.
Okay. So you just draw on your left side, and Matt's going to draw on the right side where it says your names. But 3, 2, 1.
What do snakes look like?
It's not like... Hey, you're going over, Max. You're going too far.
It's called competition.
Okay. So far, I'm loving like how like smooth Max's snake is at the moment. Like, I just love the fact, and he hasn't really got a tail. He's just got like a top half. And we've got Breana working on the smile here, and I'm loving the end. Like, I can tell it's kind of like a rattlesnake, you know. Like, I see he's got a very big lump at like the end, you know. Okay. Max is very retro with his one, but I'm not really a fan of the tongue. Like, I feel like the tongue's coming out. And
why are you discriminating against my snake? He has long tongue syndrome. He's actually very sensitive about it.
Right. Okay. So we've got pink love hearts here from Breana, just being like, you know what? I just love being a snake. That's kind of the impression. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys another 20 seconds.
I don't even know what I'm drawing now because I feel like I've done. He's gonna be on a road, walking on a road, listening to music.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Chop. Ding, 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 ding.
I love yours. I got to
Yes, I love it.
He's got like a road, like he's on a trip.
Yeah, I don't know what mine's doing. And there's a heart floating above it.
It's Dora the Explorer's best mate. Snake.
Snake the mate.
Yeah, Snake the mate. Okay, so this phase now is you have to explain your drawing. So Breana, obviously ladies first. So obviously we're seeing pink hearts, pink notes, and a big lump on the end of his tail. So explain what's going on here. Let's get creative.
Half the battle was my pen stopped working at the end because I clicked the eraser once and didn't know how to turn it off. So
Right. Oh dear.
So that happened. That's a part of it. Then there was a delay on the computer, so you can, give that bump at the end of the tail to the delay on my computer.
Right.
I was making moves, and the computer was making other moves, so it was a collaboration.
Yeah.
And then he has headphones on. I don't know if you can tell, but they're custom headphones. And as the music plays, his love comes out of the earbuds.
Of the head. Yeah, of the earphones.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely makes sense. I feel that. Okay, Max, let's go over to yours. So a snake with, I have to say, a really great figure.
Figure.
Like if anything, like I can tell that this snake works out.
This snake does work out. Do you know what? This is actually a story that I need to walk you two down. This is my friend Martin the snake.
Okay.
Now, Martin, over lockdown, like many of us, put on a couple of pounds, and he was feeling a bit insecure. He's also got long tongue syndrome that you so rudely pointed out.
Right.
And he decided.
So Martin's really got like an upsetting backstory. Okay.
He does. But he persevered. And Martin every day has gone on a run on the exact same road at 5 a.m. And the only thing that motivates him to do it is his love for music.
Right.
So his headphones are blaring the song that is motivating him to run down or slither down the road.
Right.
Get that six-pack, get the muscles, get the gains. And it's so powerful to the point where people who watch him on the road can physically see the hearts transcend from his body.
Right. Okay. So I'm not going to ask more questions on that because that's just far too much info. But thank you for that. So I know who's won, and it's based off one thing: is that one drawing is showing that the snake is enjoying the music, and one drawing is not. Very big suspense, I know.
Yeah, I try to figure out.
Very big suspense. So. You don't understand what I mean. Okay, so one snake is showing that is enjoying the music. That's what it means, Max. Okay. So I'm gonna give the point and the winner to the snake that is smiling. Because if we go back to the original task at hand, is that the snake needs to be enjoying the music. And so Breana's snake is smiling. Don't get me wrong, Max, I'm still going to give you props with everything's very clear. Straight away, I can understand that the snake does work out, really great physique. I can see that the slime would really be slimy on this snake. And the only thing that is really grabbing is that Breana went back to the original text at hand, okay? And the original text at hand was enjoying listening to music. And that smile gives it away. That,
Congratulations, Breana.
I love music.
Yay! I feel really accomplished because that was hard for me.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
There you
honestly, that was actually hard. Like that was challenging.
go. Yeah. Well, it's called Let's Get Creative for a reason.
Congratulations, Breana. Breana, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time. Just as a reminder to everyone that Backburner is out now on all platforms. Breana, where can they find you after they've heard Backburner, they've heard Personal, they're like, oh wow, this is so good. How can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at It's Breana Marin, or you can go to breanamarin.com and find everything that needs to be found in my little hub.